Why, Steph? Why did you leave me alone with him? Why, Stephanie? Why? Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. But when I call you, you never seem to be home. Oh no. Hello from the outside. At least I can say I've tried to tell you I'm sorry for breaking my heart, but it don't matter. It clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Hello. How are you? So typical of me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope that you're well. Did you ever make it out of that town where nothing ever happened? It's no secret that the both of us are running out of time. So hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. But when I call, you never seem to be home. Oh no. You left me with him. Now he's going to take over my creative vision, my creative dream, and everything else. The only thing he's not going to take from me is my shot, Stephanie. If he takes my shot, I am gone. I am gone.
Howdy, folks. I'm Jim Cornette, and welcome to the Bodyslams and Dropkicks podcast. In today's first article of news, I'm a fat piece of crap that can't think of anything original. So therefore, I'm going to sit here and bitch about how the WWE should have been sold to me. Number one, I, Jim Cornette, like the Rock and Roll Express. Man, do you know how much I, Jim Cornette, like the Rock and Roll Express? I like it almost as much as I like the bacon portobello mushroom melt straight from Wendy's, because Wendy's has good, cheap food that I used to eat on the road. And now I'm a healthy 472 pounds of pure wrestling knowledge. That's right. It is me, Jim Cornette, here on Body Slams and Dropkicks. I'm joined by my very special co-host, Charlotte Flair. Oh my God, Jim, I'm so happy to be here on Bodyslams and Dropkicks. Hooray! Daddy, you're supposed to make the confetti go off. Daddy! Woo! Oh, there it goes. Yay! And of course, the usual host of Body Slams and Dropkicks who can't be bothered to be here on time. But that's okay, because he's Vince McMahon's number one fan and sweetie boo. And the only person who's got a mind into Vince McMahon that I, Jim Cornette, can tolerate. Please welcome Michael Fraser!
He grabbed onto my leg. He was crying and sobbing, and the revolving door wouldn't fit him and I in it. An old man get pelted with the door again, screaming and crying. It's a very awkward situation.
Well, wasn't it true that they had to get out the jaws of life to separate you from Vince McMahon?
Yep. Yeah, that's strong of a grip.
It must have been terrible for you. I'm understanding you're going through some psychological counseling. It was really nice of that hotel to give you 6 months.
Exactly.
I gotta say, and to those of you who doubt me, the Marriott Suites in Vancouver, British Columbia, let me tell you, they are a top of the line hotel chain. I was out there trying to be relevant months ago, and they done treated me like I wasn't a fat blob with no opinion that's worth a damn. Also, please welcome the man whose opinion is as cold as black as my blood is full of cholesterol, Dean Connolly.
That's a lot better than the intro I usually get.
Man, I gotta tell you, that's the thing about me, Jim Cornette. I may not know a damn thing about wrestling or podcasting or talent or food outside of Wendy's, but let me tell you, I know how to make myself a damn intro. Man, our next piece of news, if you can believe it, Charlotte, can you believe it? Jimbo, I can believe whatever you want me to believe, so long as my daddy gets my lights working. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can believe it, Triple H is distraught over the resignation of his daughter, Stephanie McMahon. As reported by the eyewitness source, Mel Appleton, who brought us such classics as Dean outside of the WWE's window and Dean on Broadway with Kate Bosworth wanting John Cena to come up on stage, we see here Triple H crying into a hotel room that's not the Marriott, by the way, so it's a piece of junk, about how Stephanie McMahon has resigned from the company. We got a hotel clerk here. Hi, my name's Chad. Hello, Chad. Man, now you saw Triple H crying, right? I think so. He looks a lot like, is he the one that looks like that guy, that I Need Brit on that one podcast? Are you saying Triple H looks like Dean Connolly? That is exactly what I'm saying. Well, you are exactly right then. Well, he was whining about how Stephanie is gone and how Shawn is his only true companion left in the WWE. He feels isolated, doesn't know what to do. Instead, what he's going to be doing is watching the Impact Plus app, because Impact had Hard to Kill on, featuring Santino Marella, who I know you love, Jim. I don't love anyone! Especially that bastard Santino Marella, who done knows more about wrestling in one night with the WWE than I did in 42 years in the business! How dare you bring him up? You get out of my podcast now! And now, with the rest of the news, here's Michael Fraser and Dean Connolly. I gotta go take a big steamy dump.
But mainly Michael Fraser.
Well, I guess we'll start with the most positive. Santino Marella made his debut at Hard to Kill.
How dare you bring him up?
And it's really nice seeing Santino back. Like, I
No, it isn't!
For a bit, he tried to come back, and they kind of didn't do anything. But he also has a very successful gym in Mississauga.
I wanted him gone. I don't care how successful his gym is. Man, I ran Ohio Valley Wrestling. I ran Impact. How dare they bring Santino back in my position? I was available. I could have gotten onto a forklift and made my way over there.
And Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
How dare you forget about Smoky Mountain Wrestling? All of you fans forgot about it, but you don't know who didn't. Michael Fraser and Jim Cornette, that's me.
And then you had OVW until you had that fake nervous breakdown, so they buy you out. And
well, I got to be honest with you. I know I said it was fake before, but let me tell you something. The more I think about it, the more I think it was real, and I should sue whoever said it was fake for slander.
And, then you got fired by the NWA. And
I got fired by the NWA about 7 times.
Well, I guess we'll bring up some corny news then, because he's here.
Oh, that's me! That's me! I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Inside the Ropes reports that Jim Cornette points out major issue of WWE's current main roster scene by James Holder, published January 14, 2023. While WWE has been beset by controversy and uncertainty in the boardroom in recent weeks, Jim Cornette claims they're also facing problems on television. Speaking on a recent episode of his podcast, The Jim Cornette Experience, the legendary manager suggested that WWE's main event scene could be in trouble. Coming off the back of John Cena's appearance at December 30th episode of SmackDown, the following week's episode opened with the Bloodline destroying the ringside area and causing chaos until they were joined by Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Jim Cornette highlighted problems for Roman Reigns. Despite the Bloodline technically being heels, Roman Reigns is still heavily cheered for every appearance. According to Jim Cornette, this highlights a potential big problem. WWE don't have a babyface big enough and hot enough that fans will cheer over the Tribal Chief.
I'm going to be honest with you. I know people have said that, including you guys have said this on this podcast for years, that the WWE needs a babyface to rival Roman Reigns. But now that I've said it, 3 years too late, it done has way more legitimacy because I done said it. That's me, Jim Cornette. I done say things that people have been bringing up for years. By the way, Mr. Fraser, do you know that Vince McMahon might be coming back to sell the WWE?
Yes, Jim, we're all aware.
Oh my God! Jim Cornette, just had some breaking news.
So as I continue,
Jim Ross is from Oklahoma.
They're on a network TV. They're riding high on the big ratings from Cena the previous week, right? This was January 6th. So out comes Zayn and Solo and the Usos, not from the entranceway, but immediately as the show opens, the announcers start talking. This guy all jump over the barricade ringside and start beating the shit and throwing shit around. What the F? There's nobody else out there. They're just running roughshod the Bloodliner. Of course, all this stuff's covered by W's insurance, I would think. The production equipment's set for it. But anyway, they trash ringside, await the entrance Roman Reigns, and here it comes with Heyman standing, stooging gloriously behind him. And people
Man, I'm upset about I'm going to stop you right there again, because I want to say I know I've been saying it before over and over and over again about Paul Heyman being a stooge. I am upset with that man, and you all know why I'm upset with that man? Because like Dean Connolly before him, he's done more creative things than me. He's done more for the wrestling business than me. He's been more effective at the new product than me. And I'm done pretty dang sure he's done everything in his life better than I've done everything in mine. So Paul Heyman, you can go and kiss my ass.
Brian, they're excited to see them. It's like big name stars have come to town, like some of the old days we used to have big stars wrestling. They're again star power personally. They're the best thing on the show. And I was being a smartass when I said people love these heels. But here's a question for you before we talk about the interview they did. Is there any babyface now in the WWE that any more than the current WWE diehard would support over these guys? Anybody that is strong enough to compete in terms of personality in a way they've been booked and used? When Owens comes out there, I know a bunch of people like him, and he's a wonderful worker, but he looks like somebody took half the stuffing out of a fucking mattress compared to, Roman Reigns.
Well. I'm glad this person here, who definitely isn't me, has been saying what I've been saying about Kevin Owens for far too long. Man, I would just like to take the stuffing out of him and sleep on his stomach. But I'm unfortunately too big to get into the ring myself with Kevin Owens. Man, he could beat me up faster than you could say Hakuna Matata.
So, guys, is Cornette right about that there's no one big enough right now, babyface?
Man, of course I'm right. This has been something people been saying for like how long? I mean, when did Paul Heyman, that guy who did that done shoot on Vince McMahon, done do it? He did it in 2001. Man, the WWE needs to worry about building new stars. That's what Paul Heyman said in 2001. That's what Dean Connolly said in 2020. That's what Michael Fraser said in 2021. And I think that voice actor you guys got sometimes that likes to do some things don't say that. But you want to know who didn't say it till now? Me, Jim Cornette.
Dean? Or
I'm just going to agree with Jim because he'll whinge if I don't agree with him.
That's right. See, you understand, Dean. You understand my outlook on life and podcasting. I'm sorry, I just bent the wrong way.
we have some Walter news.
All right.
Walter comments on how...
No, you go ahead. I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Walter comments on having reservations about joining the WWE roster during an interview with MySanAntonio.com. WWE Intercontinental Champion Walter was asked if he had any reservations about joining the WWE main roster. There definitely were some even before I actually started WWE. I had my reservations for it because I was unsure if I was fit for them. Did it really fit to me as well? I really was enjoying building up something in Europe or in Germany. We were really building up a foundation for wrestling in the country again because it was broken down for so long. So I took a lot of pride in that. But obviously time moves on, time changes. You have to go with the times a little bit. Living in America was never something I was too big into. I love Europe and I like the lifestyle of Europe. I like to be close to family and stuff, but I think I just outgrew the circumstances there. And I just had to move on. I think it came to a point in my career where it was like, okay, you either make that next step now or just going to be stagnant for the rest of it. And looking back, I'm glad I did.
Stagnant? You want to talk about stagnant? Stagnant is sitting on your butt, done eating chips, and talking about wrestling. Excuse me for 1 second. Now, I gotta tell you, man, these Lay's chips is wonderful. But, man, here's the thing, man. Walter was talking about building up the territories back in the day, which is something that I, Jim Cornette, think we got to go back to. If we can go back to wrestling the way it should be, we don't have to worry about Roman Reigns or the Bloodline or the WWE or the WWE Network or dang Impact Plus app. You want to know why? Because we wouldn't have them, man. The fans would have no choice. And when they got no choice, they done cheer for that first guy who's really big. That's the way wrestling should be.
Honestly, Walter's probably one of the few that's believable that can beat Reigns. If you look at some of the champions we have right now, and outside of maybe Sheamus as well, with that standing ovation he got a while back.
Man, I got a standing ovation once I'd like to talk about it if I may. I was in Oklahoma done visiting, guess who? That's right, kids, Jim Ross. And I done went and sat into the hospital because, Jim was doing some routine things at the time. And the doctors, they all came over to me and they said, "Are you okay, sir?" I've never had service like that in my life. It's a standing ovation. It's one of those things that you will never, and I mean ever experience in your life the same way twice. So Sheamus getting a standing ovation, good for him. When's his next one going to be? Walter getting that standing ovation, working over in the UK and Germany, good for him. When's his next one going to be? I'm Jim Cornette, and I completely changed my opinion on something mid-sentence.
I guess we'll go to the next article. Frankie Kazarian released from AEW and signs contract with Impact Wrestling. During Impact Wrestling's 2023 Hard to Kill event, Frankie Kazarian announced that he signed a contract with the company. According to Mike Johnson at PWInsider.com, Kazarian asked to be released from AEW following a match against Josh Alexander in November, and his request was granted. Johnson noted the following about Kazarian's departure: "We are told it was a completely amicable situation based on Kazarian wanting to push himself harder as he's getting closer to the latter point of his career. And that Impact, he had a chance to be more in the mix than he'd likely be able to get the opportunity to do in AEW, given how massive the company's roster is."
Well, I done hoping there's going to be more cuts in that AEW with that Kenny Olivier no balls. That would be the first person I would cut in AEW if we're going forward. But I got to be honest with you, I wasn't listening to the article because it was Frankie Kazarian. And I don't know who that is nor how to pronounce that name. So I'm going to be honest with you, good for Impact, he does nothing for me, Jim Cornette. By the way, all wrestling needs to do something for me, Jim Cornette. There's only one way of wrestling, folks, and that's the way of the 1970s, and I'm going to drill it into your head as long as I'm here on this podcast.
Do you have anything to add, Dean?
No. I don't need to add anything when Jim's literally doing all the adding for me.
Dominic Mysterio comments on his relationship with WWE management. During an appearance on Conan's podcast, Dominic Mysterio discussed his relationship with WWE management. I feel like I had a good relationship with them. You know, it was always very professional. Hi, hello, goodbye, hi, and gorilla after my matches. Thank you, stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it's a little different for me since I'm kind of been around them since I was like 4 or 5 years old. Was asked if he was ever scolded at a show here. Was Dom's response, I don't think so, but they have gotten on me because I've gotten a reputation of missing some flights, quote courtesy of sportskeeda.com.
Now I'm going to tell you something. You want to know the most intimidating thing Dominic Mysterio ever did?
Go into the wrestling business?
Sorry, what was that?
Coming into the wrestling business in the first place?
No. See, when he was in 05 and he was done playing a PSP, and then 17 years later, he done turns into this gangster from the Grand Theft Auto that he been playing on his PSP. Man, that is long-term storytelling. If I done ever see it, that street punk. Of course he's going to have a good relationship with the WWE management. If he didn't, and he was like, oh, Rey Mysterio would be like, okay, Hans, I'm out. Peace. And Rey Mysterio can done get a job anywhere. And the WWE knows that. So they done keep it around the dead weight of Dominic Mysterio until such times as Rey Mysterio says is done. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, these chips is wonderful if we don't talk about dead weight. I'm about 487 pounds of it.
The problem is Dominic Mysterio doesn't really have that heel heat. The only reason everybody pretty much hates him is just because everyone has thoughts for Rhea Ripley, and that more so shows how Dom's lacking. And now they're kind of doing a more stereotypical thing like the older gimmicks they did. When Dom really only has to really, and we've seen Dom kind of backfire. He's not like this hard character you played. Remember when Edge finally got a hold of him and he's begging, going, no, Uncle Edge, no, Uncle Edge. And Edge just starts beating him senseless.
Mm. No offense, but the man is not, he's not Brock Lesnar type. He's mainly there to go the mid-card and that's it.
And keep in mind, like, he's solid in the ring, and I've not seen a bad match out of him yet. But like, there doesn't seem to be that much of a core. Like, if you look at it, like, Dom's not intimidating in that faction at all. Like, the only thing that's at work is that he has people with that factor. He's got Finn Balor behind him. He's got Damian Priest, and like I said, Rhea Ripley's doing all the heavy work when it really comes to Dom. That's the only reason Dom's remotely getting over.
Man, they should bring back his father.
Yes,
Booyaka, La Cheat Seal, Booyaka, Chavo Guerrero. Wait a minute, that's done wrong. It's okay. I'm Jim Cornette. I say it's right now.
This way you don't carpool Vince Russo.
Oh, do you want to bring up Russo?
Oh, God.
You're going to bring up Russo in my presence? Let me tell you, Russo is the Michael Fraser of any podcast. Exactly. That's what we do with Russo, man. Anytime Russo would ever come up with ideas, I'm going to say, oh, that's great, Vince. And I done come up with an idea that's the same as Vince Russo's 2 years later. And I get lauded for it as being a genius, which I am.
I guess to go on the next piece of news. Backstage news regarding Cody Rhodes' W combat training as seen during the January 2nd, 2023 edition of WWE Raw. W started hyping up the return of Cody Rhodes from injury. With a multi-part video series, Five Select noted the following about Cody's comeback training. Sources familiar with the situation currently the Fightful Select that not only is Cody Rhodes preparing for his return, he's been at the W Firm Center to prepare Cody Rhodes and his big-ass bus were both spotted at the Performance Center in late December as for members of his family team. It was added that Cody personally chose NXT stars Joe Gacy, Camilo Hayes to help him out with his in-ring training. Via Bet Online, Cody is the current favorite to win the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble match.
My God, Daddy, why didn't I get the same star treatment when I returned? You better go in and talk to that Stephanie McMahon. It's not Stephanie anymore. Oh. You better go in and beg that Vince McMahon to let me have my star power, for heaven's sakes. I've been in the WWE for like 3 weeks now, and nobody's given me a bus, or given me a parade, or given me documentary. I'm Charlotte Flair. I'm a multi-time women's champion. How could you? How dare you not give me my time? Wait. Flares don't cry. Woohoo! Woohoo! I'm okay, everybody. Well, go on. Let's go on with the news.
January 11th, in the final match of the Best of 7 series, saw Kenny and the Bucks regain the AEW Trios Tag Team Championships, making go to the fudge. I can't talk today. Making Kenny
so
a
excited
double
he can't
champion.
even spell his words out.
Who's Kenny O'Donnell?
Who's Kenny
Kenny
O'Donnell?
Omega is now a double champion.
Who's Kenny O'Donnell? Congratulations for Kenny O'Donnell being a double champion, I guess. I didn't even know he was wrestling. I thought he was brother of Larissa O'Donnell and, son of Mike O'Donnell. I don't know.
Yeah, now Kenny has 2 belts.
Man, who did he partner with? You done said he was the Trios Championship. Kenny O'Donnell, who did he partner with? Was it Lars and Murphy?
Sure, why not? But yes, Kenny has regained his belts. All is right in the world in AEW.
Kenny O'Donnell.
Because Kenny Omega has a title.
Kenny O'Donnell. Congratulations to Kenny O'Donnell.
I'm going to say, is that the Irish nickname for Kenny Omega, Kenny O'Donnell?
Sure, why not? Even though his real name is Tyson Smith.
To think either after me lucky charms and me lucky balls. I'm Kenny O'Donnell. Right at what he did today. Oh, my balls! They're gone. Come, kids. Let me capture me lucky charms. Oh, the Trios belt that I booked myself to win. And the belts. The belts that Tony Khan has made me beg for. Oh, catch me lucky charms. They're magically delicious. My Cornswoggles is mom.
I have some Stephanie McMahon news.
Yeah, what?
I have 70 McMahon news. Update on the claim that 70 McMahon and Triple H opposed the WB sale. As previously noted, 70 McMahon announced her resignation from WB on Tuesday. Following 70's departure, it was reported by XOS.com that her and Triple H opposed the idea of WB being sold. Dave Meltzer at 4WOnline.com noted the following regarding that claim. Regarding the story about that Paul Lavsky, Triple H, and 70 McMahon were against the idea of WB being sold, that was reported by Access. We were told by someone close to both that Lavkus and staff were not against selling. They were open to all possibilities. In many ways, the company was guaranteed to be sold in some fashion. The fact that Vince-McMahon's shares had to be addressed in that regard. Some level of sale was guaranteed. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer went into more details. They knew that at some closed Vince shares, he's the majority shareholder for B-class stock, were Albatros, and at some point somebody had to get rid of those shares anyway, or Vince would take over. So they were not like saying we have to sell. It's Vince who pretty much made that call because of the timing, and maybe again he's farther along the Saudi deal, which is maybe where those rumors came from, and knew the timing, everything like that, because he jumped in for the sale anyways. It's not like they were opposed to a sale. It's not likely they champion the sale either. Quote courtesy of WrestlingNews.co.
Hello, folks. I'm Charlotte Flair. It doesn't really matter who the WWE sells to, as long as I, Charlotte Flair, am still queen of the women's division.
And then we have Eric Bischoff comments on Tony Khan's family potentially buying WB.
Hang on a second. You done say Bischoff?
Eric Bischoff.
I'm going to tell you something about Eric Bischoff, man. For 83 weeks, he beat WWE Raw. I just did the research yesterday. Did you know that for 83 straight weeks, Eric Bischoff beat WWE Raw in the Monday Night Wars? And you want to know how he did that? Do you want to know how he did that?
Sure.
He done take my idea. My idea, that's mine, that Eric Bischoff done stole. I said to him, hey, why don't you go and you steal all the WWE's top talent? And then he said to me, Jim, you are a genius. I could never think of doing something like that because it's never happened in any business world ever. And he done took my idea without giving me credit or any of the revenue. Man, I had to go work for the WWE at that time just to make ends meet because Eric Bischoff said, Jim, you're too big to get through the door. You know what? I've resented that man since that day. And it doesn't matter what any idea that Eric Bischoff has, I, Jim Cornette, am going to be against it. Even if he's quoting me. You betcha, Lucian. You betcha.
So Eric Bischoff comments on Tony Khan's family potential behind WWE. During his 83 weeks podcast, Eric Bischoff commented on Tony Khan's family potential behind WWE. Acquiring WWE is that a big, giant move? I don't see it now. Could it happen? Sure, anything is possible. But if you really think about it, does the Khan enterprise have the experience, knowledge, infrastructure, ability to run a company as complex as WWE? They may be in the same business, but they don't live and play in the same universe. This isn't Tony Khan's money. It's Tony Khan's father's money, family money. Tony had a big chunk of it, obviously part of it, but how much of your $11 billion of your net worth, depending on how much of it is even liquid, are you willing to put on WWE? Just like Vince McMahon would probably have to put up $500 million of his own money because they Khan family want to see that. Okay, if you're going to lead this charge and we're going to jump on your team here to do this and make this acquisition, we want to know that you have.
He's so excited about Tony Khan buying AEW, he does not keep his words straight.
We are not just buying your name and your reputation. They want to know that you're in it to win it. And the same would be true with the Khan family, quote, courtesy of WrestlingInc.com and Sportskeeda.com.
Nothing to say that if it won't be done right if Tony and Shahid Khan don't buy it or do buy it.
But then Khan will pull events though where he'll be like, we won the war.
I'm going to tell you, if Tony Khan and other Khan, because I zoned out before I heard the name, go and went and buy AEW, then what I want to see is a refresh of the 2001 WCW and ECW versus WWE storyline, The Invasion. Don't you laugh at me. Don't you laugh at me. The Invasion was a good storyline.
No, it wasn't.
Can you imagine? Just imagine for me, Team WWE comprised of, I don't know, Bryan Danielson, okay, and four other guys versus Team AEW led by the biggest babyface of all time, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who I can't stand because it can't work. But can you imagine that in a match? That's good TV. Be terrible for the business, and I could complain about it for the next 50 years. Exactly. Me!
I guess I'll get to the last article. What Disney and Comcast contracts really said in regards to McMahon. It was previously reported that WWE President Nick Khan met with Bob Iger, Chief Executive Officer of Disney, and Jimmy Pitaro, President of ESPN, while in Los Angeles. Disney, ESPN, and Comcast are also to be possible buyers to WWE. Fightful Select reached out to contacts within Disney and Comcast, and they comment on the possibility of sale. Under the condition of Full noted that both companies had employees who had clearly heard of the rumors and said that it would be hard to believe that any major company would want to retain Vince McMahon services in any capacity if they could help it. Fightful added that we've also been told by people of influence in the companies of at least 2 potential suitors that they believe there would be roles in WWE post-sale for Stephanie McMahon and Triple H if they wish to continue.
What? Who are these people? I will never sell to them, ever!
It's actually just asked a question phrase. Did it say what companies?
It just said Disney, Comcast. Yes,
yourself. I will never sell to Disney or Comcast unless that super attractive mouse begs me to sell. Even then, I'll make him make me head of creative until the day I die.
So Vince McMahon came back, and we're seeing the possible sale of WB on top of all the rumors that possibly selling it to Saudi Arabia.
You're welcome, Fraser.
He's not selling Saudi Arabia.
I came back
One
for
of the rumors,
you.
so we're going to address everything. So,
well, we're going to address it in our humble opinion.
Yes, in our humble opinion, we are going to address all the rumors, the speculations, everything.
Those are all fake news. I, Vince McMahon, will never sell. I came back to be the majority head of the biggest and greatest company in the world. And since Impact would buy out, that happens to be the WWE.
I personally think, though, that Vince is just doing all this to up stock and overshadow all his scandals. I don't think he'd actually sell the company.
So here's the thing. Do you want my honest opinion now? I'm going to drop all the stuff because, believe it or not, after an hour of yelling as Jim Cornette, my voice has kind of had enough.
I admit I enjoyed the whole thing, especially when you busted out the chips and everything.
So, all right. Giving myself a little break. Don't worry, Jim will be back soon. WWE selling to Saudi Arabia in its entirety because has me worried because it's not the same as, say, Saudi Arabia acquiring an F1 team or Saudi Arabia acquiring stocks in something. Saudi Arabia would be the majority owner of the WWE through the People's Investment Fund. And that has me super concerned for the future, given everything I know about Saudi Arabia and specifically with regards to how it feels about LGBTQ, how it feels about women in general, how it feels about people's rights, and how it feels about freedom of the press. Those are all things I support in my daily life. I think women should make equal pay as men for similar work, which, believe it or not, still isn't happening to this day. I believe that the media, whether or not I agree with it or not, should be able to persist and say what is fair and what isn't throughout a multitude of platforms, unless you get into something where it's threatening human life or inciting an insurrection. I think that media should be able to operate relatively freely. And LGBTQ, I'm going to take a page out of the great philosopher Peter Griffin's book that says, if gays want to get married and be miserable like the rest of us, I say we should let them. So realistically, if the WWE sells to Saudi Arabia, the WWE will also stand for all those things which I cannot morally and ethically support. And I'm going to be in a position where I no longer wish to even look at a company which has given me so much joy over 2 decades. It's given me something to believe in. It got me through high school. It's the reason why I know you guys. And to not have that is something that would hurt me to no end, but something I feel as a person, as a self-respecting person, I could no longer look at the WWE in the same light. I've sent something off, which I'm sure that the producer has, and whether or not you guys post it to social media, I'm not sure about. But those are my full thoughts. Truncated as much as I can. WWE to Saudi Arabia, please God no. WWE to Disney intrigues me for one reason and one reason only. If I can get live events on my Disney Plus subscription, on top of everything else that Disney Plus already offers me, God, I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Gimme.
But there is a blocker, particularly in North America, Peacock.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. Peacock's rights will eventually run out. If they don't run out sometime in 2023, it could be 2024, it could be 2025. Peacock and WWE Network aren't mutually exclusive for an indeterminate amount of time. So that's fine with me. Peacock can take its bloody time for all I'm concerned. If I can get my WWE live events on a streaming service I already have, and I will probably have to wait anyway for the WWE deal with Rogers to go and bite the bullet, or whoever the heck owns the score. I think it's Rogers, I'm not sure. Before that were to ever happen, but that intrigues me to no end because I wouldn't need anything else if I can get my live content and all of my childhood and all of my animation and all of my adult programming aside from South Park and Archer in one convenient place. Oh God, that has me foaming at the mouth. Disney to Comcast. Or sorry, WWE to Comcast. Yeah, I could see it. They've got Peacock in there. They've got a long-standing relationship with NBC Universal. I could see it. It'd be a fair choice. It'd be a safe choice. I personally wouldn't like it, but it would be a fair and safe choice for the WWE to do that. WWE to Netflix, same as Disney. Foaming at the mouth for something like that to happen. WWE to Amazon. I don't believe would happen, but if it did, foaming at the mouth. Because, again, Amazon has capital that is big enough to potentially warrant something in a live event capacity or in a streaming capacity that could benefit me as a viewer in Canada. Super excited for that. I don't know of any other big buyers out there for the WWE that aren't in the rumor mill. But let's just say some of those have got me foaming at the mouth. I definitely have my favorites. What about you guys?
Disney Plus, I would say, is my favorite. PIF, there's a lot of things, but like you said, but I must admit, they did buy Newcastle United out last year. The turnaround from that has been great. However, it's a wrestling company. It's a bit different from a football, but like I said, different from F1.
It's a league. You can make the rules.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is there's multiple factors in the WWE which would make a lot of people nervous, a la Sami Zayn.
I remember reading so many reports saying that not only could Sami Zayn potentially leave with this deal because he's of Syrian descent, but also that Kevin Owens could leave out of support for Sami Zayn. And there are, you want to go back to an article we had earlier, those are two of your bigger baby faces on the WWE roster right now.
Yep, Sammy's never been hotter in every sense of the word. But you have that, obviously you have LGBTQ, a la Sonya Deville for a start. I think there's just too much controversy for the PIF to actually buy out. The only way that PIF...
Hang on, I'm sorry, did you just say Sami Zayn has never been hotter?
Yeah.
I never knew you really enjoyed that beard, Dean. You said that in every sense of the word.
It's a wrestling saying. He's never been hotter because I, for one, have never seen him so popular. And no offense, but when was the last time he had a title shot aside from NXT? Exactly. Speechless.
I can tell you. I can actually tell you. He had won John Cena's United States Championship Challenge in like 2015, 2016. He's had a few intermittently. When it comes to a world title shot,
exactly. So PIF, for many reasons, I rule it out. It would be interesting, but it would also be a little bit biting your nails sort of territory. Disney, I can see. No offense, but they spent $4 billion. They spent about $4 billion on Lucasfilm. They spent at least $70 billion on the 20th Century Fox. Not to mention the fact that they actually own ESPN. So it's not as if Disney doesn't have a sports division of it. And not to mention, like Nathan said, if you already have something that has an app, you are adding more content to it. Granted, it would have to be in its own little section on Disney Plus, but at the same time, Disney has the money, they've got the balls, and definitely, I would say, the momentum. Amazon, another option. Netflix, well, to be honest with you, Netflix is Drive to Survive. They'll have plenty of game shows, but I generally don't see them. I don't see WWE going there for a lot of reasons. I'm just trying to see what else there is. Apple TV could buy it. It's not as if they're not. Apple TV is not owned by a billionaire. But would it fit in with... Because I don't actually think, as for my limited knowledge goes, I don't think Apple TV do sports at all. Amazon Prime?
Baseball, they do. I'll help you there. Baseball, they definitely do.
That's something. Amazon Prime has started investing in its sports division a lot more, because I think I remember looking at the other day, and you got tennis on there. They bought a lot of Premier League games, which aren't cheap as it is, just for showing, I'll say, about a quarter of the live football games, because you're paying something like you're paying ridiculous prices for it. So I think $2 billion is actually peanuts for Amazon Prime. Not to mention the fact that if Amazon, and God forbid, they do buy WWE and they never go down this route, they could literally keep the pay-per-views on if they didn't want to keep the WWE network. Pray to God it never happens. Pray to God it never, ever happens ever again. But at the same time, there's always that possibility, because Amazon's the place to go when you have to buy something that's not available either in your region or on something you've got, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's just how business is. Sky did have the rights to Raw and SmackDown for many, many decades, but they lost them. I generally don't see Sky being interested, because BT Sports got the deal, but BT doesn't have... I don't think BT has the money or the moxie to buy it. Just trying to think what else there is. NBC Universal, well, the possibility's there, but who knows? Maybe when the deal runs out, they might just want to call it quits. But it just depends. But my favourite will be Disney, with Amazon Prime close second, and I generally don't think anybody else would. Liberty Media, well, they're too busy trying to turn F1 into the American circus, so they have the money, but I don't think they'll get it. So for me, it's between either Apple TV, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus. That's if they do end up selling. But we've been through this before, where they've basically set it up for sale because the TV rights are up for grabs. So who knows? They might not even sell at all.
He's right. They have done this before. There is precedent for it. 2018. However, what I will say is it never got beyond rumors.
Indeed.
Right now is the farthest it has ever come beyond rumors and beyond things that have been confirmed, like Nick Khan going to Disney. And Comcast and seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
So at least there's some interest there.
Yeah.
You do know what's going on with Vincent Kennedy McMahon right now.
All too well.
There could be some legitimacy there.
Yeah. The other thing I will say, if anybody does buy WWE, if somebody doesn't, but I guarantee you, whoever has a business brain, which is apparently what people at Disney and everyone has, the first thing they will do is say, we do not want Vince McMahon. Bring back Stephanie and Hunter, because they know what they're doing. any businessman will see where the profit was lost and where the profit was gained. It was lost when Vince has been in for God knows how many years. When everything went back up, revenue went back up, viewership went back up when Hunter and Stephanie were in charge. Now, the fact that Stephanie's left, but Hunter is still in creative, I bet viewership is still going down the tube.
Well, especially when you look at something that Fraser did not report on, and that was the reported talent-only meeting between WWE Talent and Triple H.
I did hear about that.
One thing that Triple H has stated is that Vince McMahon has creative input, but Triple H is holding the final decision. How long before that reverses?
That will reverse.
Yeah,
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it's inevitable because Vince McMahon is a control freak. That's another story for another podcast. In fact, we already did that podcast, but we already see like the seeds being sown for it this early on in the game.
Literally.
And like we've gotten to a point where, I hope you enjoyed your last 6 months of what we're going to call the good times.
Yep.
Because it's going to go bang, splat into the ground.
And the only person blamed for that will be Vince McMahon. Actually, tell a lie, Nate. We've had our say. I don't think Fraser's had his say yet.
I just think, honestly, this just seems like a big ploy to get stock back up, to get people talking about the company and overshadow the whole thing with Vince McMahon and his affairs and the 16 years of cover up and hush money.
Yeah, but
and then supposedly there might be a lawsuit going on because of the way he retook over the company.
There is actually a lawsuit on actually about that.
So there might
be
hope.
It's been filed. It's been filed. Class action, man.
But it does just seem like all of this just seems just really convenient that Vince comes back. Everyone starts talking about that. Then he slaps him about possibly selling the company. And all of a sudden, that's all anybody is talking about over his scandal and stuff. It just seems like with stocks going up, it just seems like a long game of him trying to get everyone to forget what he did.
We all know. Everybody knows what he did.
So I think he's just playing the field. I think he's doing this so that when their deal is up with Fox and everything, they can request more money, more control, more of a say, because now they're going to see like, oh, well, all these people are interested. How are you going to match what they got? It's like he's trying to play MJF's game, but on the more like an entire fate of a company on the line.
We'll put it this way: Vince hasn't pissed off his boss and called him a fucking mark either.
Not yet. We don't know what Vince's been saying behind scenes. Remember, Vince has buried people for a while.
Knowing his luck, he's probably called Hunter a mark.
Probably.
Only 17 times.
17? That's quite a lot for you, Vince.
Yeah. Well, I am getting up there in age. And I'll have you know, today I'm going to add even more to that title. Yeah. You want to know my opinion? My opinion is there's only one person who's able to run the WWE, and that's me, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. No other man has the vision of me, and as Michael Fraser can say, with pure lived experience, nobody else has the balls of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I don't think anybody wants the balls of Vincent Kennedy around, to be honest.
Man, I'm going to tell you a couple of things, man. I'm Jim Cornette, by the way. Hello, everyone. Jim Cornette is back here on Bodyslams and Dropkicks, Josh Matthews' favorite podcast. Tell each and every one of you that the WWE should sell to me. I got myself some $42.74, and I didn't think that I could run WWE with the $42 better than it's running right now. You want to know how I do it? I'll tell you how I do it. Number one, we're going to bring in people who know the product, like me, Jim Cornette. Number two, we're going to get rid of everybody on the roster who I deem as expendable. And now that I got no roster, I'm going to bring it back in my image. By the way, Fraser, how would you like a job in Jim Cornette's WWE?
I'd rather you just manage FTR.
I can see. Just hear me out on this before you say I should manage FTR, make him into the new Rock and Roll Express, give him 80s style hair. Just imagine this. You're Kid Poison. You're working as a janitor. Well, you get to peruse with all of Jim Cornette's stars.
Well, think of this way. Jim Cornette meets Steven the Midget. Steven the Midget, Jim Cornette.
Wow. It is an honor and a pleasure to meet you. I've never met someone with as much storied history of erectile dysfunction as you.
Man, I've never seen somebody with a libido as big as yours. Why we go into business together? Can you imagine it? Jim Cornette and Steven the Midget, the brains and the brawn.
Yeah, I know. I have them both. I wouldn't need you. At all. Matter of fact, nobody needs you. That's why you're alone on a podcast crying for like 4 hours while eating chips and complaining about Wendy's. Okay? By the way, I have met Wendy. Killer late. Killer late, by the way. 12 out of 10. Would do again. Will do again. But, Jim, this is Bodyslams and Dropkicks. Okay? It is ran by Michael Fraser and Dean Connolly. They don't need you. Nobody needs you. Except for the Haynes XXXXXXXXXXXL division. So why don't you go? I'll open up that door. You go, or roll, in your case, out to Haynes and get yourself some sort of relevancy somewhere. Okay? Don't come here again, Jim.
I'm Jim Cornette, and I done approve of the Bodyslams and Dropkicks podcast.
To end on a more positive note, they New Japan just confirmed for February 17th that it'll be Eddie Kingston versus Jay White.
So see, here's the thing about that, though. You only bring up New Japan news phrase because Sasha Banks
Oh my god!
is in New Japan. I find it funny. The week that Sasha Banks returns to Impact is when you first bring up New Japan news, and then now we got the second straight week of it. Is there something we should know?
She will also be having a title match at the same event that Eddie Kingston is working.
Well, you see, you can't stop this guy talking about Sasha Banks.
I know we
He doesn't like her, but we're pretty sure he does.
It's like Dean and Kate Bosworth, we can never
And
stop them.
Wow. I didn't know your love was on that level. My apologies, sir. When is the wedding?
Yeah, apparently it's on such a level.
Fraser, one podcast, mate, and think of something else. Your lack of originality is quite frankly disturbing. Almost as disturbing as somebody's lack of faith in Star Wars Episode 4.
What? Hello, I'm Jim Cornette. I'm here to talk to you about Star Wars. If I was writing Star Wars, Number one, it would be about the true star of Star Wars, Grand Moff Tarkin, and working under the evil empire. He done have a podcast. He call it the Tarkin Cast with Grand Moff Tarkin. And he done have a guy named Conrad running the thing with him.
I guess I'm like Freddie Alvarez. I just work with what someone else already did.
And you would just be Bruce Campbell because you can only work with one director and no one else.
And you're lucky. You're qualified to be a waiter.
He's worked with multi-directors. He's also directed stuff as well.
And this is also
as a matter of fact, I'll help you out here, Fraser. He done directed Bruce Campbell's one-man wrestling show, Pillow Fight. Starring Bruce Campbell as Bruce, and Bruce Campbell as Brucina.
And we're still waiting for Dean Conway's one-man show, but we still have to wait for that because apparently he is a perfectionist. I see him in the back. He's ripping up scripts and he's screaming, "I'm sorry, I am a perfectionist."
Why are you making me sound like Bigfoot and the Hendersons?
I was making it sound like Nathan Explosion from Apocalypse, actually.
Oh, your words.
By the way, Fraser, when's the next issue of Paranormal Patrollers coming out?
Yes, I too would like to know.
Issue 2, right now, as I've gotten the update from one of my artists yesterday, he is just inking and coloring now, so it should be soon.
Oh my word, how soon? How soon before I get to see the magnificent, charming, and stunning Professor Phil Woods?
I'm not going to put a release date yet until everything's done because I don't want to say the day and then delay
Say
stuff.
next year, then.
Target date January 1st, 2054. Got it.
Yep.
Because there's been a lot of setbacks. My artist has been sick. Storm recently hit us and he had to stay in a radio station overnight. He's also had to move and be trained for a new position at work, so...
So what you're saying is Phil Woods is going to be back at some point in time, but we do not know which kind.
Yes, and I sent a script off to the amazing Mr. Tasker, and I am just waiting for updates as he has been busy performing in plays. And...
That is vague, sir.
Mr. Tasker.
Well, unfortunately, he's not here right now.
So then you'll have to wait. And issue 3 is being worked on currently as well, so...
Hey, kids, I know what would be fun. Why don't we talk about how great I, Jim Cornette, am?
Nope, you're done.
The words total waste of time do not come to mind when it's Jim Cornette. That's right, you can find me, Jim Cornette, on the Jim Cornette podcast starring Jim Cornette and Wendy's. Try their new bacon portobello mushroom melt, only available for a limited time. I put it in my gullet and I'm still living. How about you? You can find me on www.deathpixie.ca if you'd like to talk to me about voiceover projects or commission me for some of your own. www.deathpixie.ca is the best way to get a hold of me. Wow.
You can find me on Twitter at 5-Star Wildcard. You can find me on Instagram at Beautiful Michael. You can find me on TikTok at Beautiful Michael. You can also find me at the Bodyslams and Dropkicks Facebook page. You can also find me at the other Facebook page, the Gokai Studios Facebook page, and the Gokai Studios Instagram. If you want to check out Paranormal Patrollers, Something in the Woods, our tribute to the late great Jason David Frank, Photon Warden. We also have another one that one of our artists has begun called Lyric is Learning as they adapt their art skills over a span of time.
You can find me on Final Cut Official on Instagram. That's it for the minute. I'm going to start doing some YouTube stuff after I get off here. And I'm going to start posting daily content, or as I call them, shorts from what I play. I will be starting a Williams F1 manager campaign now that the majority, I won't say majority of the bugs have been fixed, but a lot of them. So everything's a bit more realistic than when you first bought it. FYI, gentlemen, Frontier is not doing very well because F1 Manager 22 has underperformed. Me personally, I love it.
Well, then I hope you enjoy the one good game you're going to get out of them if it's underperformed, Dean.
Well, there's still time yet, mate. There's a lot of people who actually do like it because I'm in about 3 different F1 manager chats. Yes, there's problems with it, but majority of about 3/4 of the people who are actually in there, maybe more, they do actually like it.
And thank you to everyone who listens to this podcast every single week. We couldn't do it without you. How you survive our shenanigans without being skeletons, I will never understand.
And next week, we're going to go for the hat trick about talking about the potential sale of WWE.
Hey, folks, it's the WWE podcast. Thank you, Michael, for finally giving me, Vince McMahon, exactly what I want.
I thought you were going to say deserving, in which case Fraser hasn't kicked you in your balls yet.
Oh, he can do a lot of other things there, Dean. He can do a lot of other things there.
Can we cut this before it gets a bit too graphic, please? Because I don't really want that. Cut it, please.
We go. Vincent Kenny McMahon, the world's greatest shaving wrestler and God among men. I am the greatest power to ever live in the WWE, and I will never ever retire or stop until all of my needs are filled and I am permanently disfigured, destroyed, and dismembered. Hello, my name is Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and I am a complete idiot who has no power, no will, and no balls. Hey, maybe that's why you like Michael Fraser so much. Okay, so hear me out. I have a theory. I haven't been here. My name's the Game, Triple H. Nice to see you. So you know how Kenny Omega has no balls?
Yep.
Okay, so hear me out on this. Fraser likes him, right?
Uh-huh.
So what if Vince McMahon has no balls so he could pursue Fraser?
Yeah, but you'd have to kill off Kenny Omega though to make that work.
Hey, look, I'm just saying, for his own safety, maybe Omega should be looking over both shoulders. I mean, he's already under fire for gimmick infringement. It could be a lot worse. Kenny, if you're listening to this right now, either meet Michael Fraser or keep both eyes open at night. This is a Game Triple H with a public service announcement signing off for Body Slams and Dropkicks.